Hey King's family, so I'm back on the channel to update you guys about King. Now, we've been going through so much since this year started. Yes, we're now in May, but if I could tell you specifics on what we've gone through, guys, you wouldn't even believe me. Unfortunately, my son's catheter, I call the catheter Kathy. So Kathy wasn't working very well for a couple of months, and we kind of felt that we were going to end up in the ER, admitted to get a brand new hemodialysis line for his dialysis treatments. So eventually, after speaking to the doctor for those about 2 months, he agreed to get us admitted and to get this line because he was not getting the treatment that he needs. April the 28th, guys. Okay, and that's like already after the months that we went through with, kind of like, oh my God, trying to get this to work. Because he said, push it as much as you can because of the pandemic. We didn't want to end up in the hospital. Nobody does at this point. Fine. So April the 28th, it was time for us to get admitted, get a new line. It was going to be in and out, 2-3 days and max. So we definitely got the line. And the team at the OR that takes my son, okay, into the procedure, they were asking, do you have any questions, any concerns? And I said, yes, I do. Okay, so I had mentioned that last year in March of 2019, the same thing happened. Okay, which is, please be careful with my son. When he wakes up out of anesthesia after a surgery or procedure, whatever he has done at that moment, whatever he had done on his body, he goes straight to it. So this time it was his hemodialysis catheter. So that's always a concern of mine. He's going to go straight to it, guys. It's a new procedure, so it hurts him. And it itches because of the dressing. If anybody has had a dressing on their body over a wound, knows that it itches tremendously. So a child, okay, almost 4 years old in August, you're going to have to be very careful with once that baby wakes up. Last year in March, it happened. This time, April, it happened to where he wakes up, he goes straight to the line. This time, they were trying to cover up what was happening because it took an hour more than what it usually does for them to call me to go into the recovery room with my son and then get taken to his regular PICU room. So I was asking, staff members, like, where's my son? What's going on? It's been too long. The doctor came out about an hour ago. He said my son was fine. Why is it taking so long for me to see my son? So, it's so hard, guys, to just sit there and know that the timing is wrong. I've been through this for almost 4 years. There's certain things that I know, like I time them because I know it doesn't take longer than so much of, time. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. Something's wrong. So, oh my God, like I'm going crazy. I'm like, please look for my son. His name is King Leal. I need to know my baby's okay. And so same thing, guys. He bled from his wound, from his dressing because nobody wants to be babysitting and watching him. So it's very hard for me to go into the hospitals and get admitted. Even after I said it, like, I'm warning you, that's what's going to happen. So we lost blood there. We also lost a lot of blood during a treatment after the new line. So his hemoglobin, yeah. His hemoglobin has been a little bit low, guys. We've been working on it so much. And I felt something was going to happen because he went for the line and the actual dressing was allowing room air to go in. So I thought he's going to catch a damn infection. But I thought, nah, you know what? It's just me. So we come home. It was like 3 days later. April 28th was the first day we got admitted. Okay. So March 2nd, guys, we go to dialysis, I scheduled it on a Saturday versus Friday because I started seeing King different, a little warmer than usual. It wasn't a fever. It was a low-grade fever, okay? I know how to deal with that, and I know what to do, so I have to uncover him, no blanket. That way I can get a real temperature. So it went from like 100.1 to like 98.9. So I thought, okay, estamos bien, we're fine. So then Saturday comes around, the nurse knew what was going on. So, Saturday comes around, we go in the morning, and then boom, we get there, and King's been fine. He's had an appetite. He's eating. I do assessments. As long as he's eating, pooping, peeing, no high fevers, I don't run to the ER, guys, especially right now with the pandemic. So we get there, guys, and we have to get screened right nowadays. So 101.7. So I'm like, fuck, like what happened? Why? And we just got here, like everything seems fine. He was even like listening to bumping to music in the back seat. So then the nurse calls the doctor, and the doctor says, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Just kidding. So doctor says they need to go to the ER. So I rush over there, guys. We didn't get dialyzed. So I have to take my son to the emergency, and then they're like screening us. And then the nurse says, what's going on? Why are you here? You guys have no fever. I said, well, he had a fever at like, I think it was like 9:30, and I got to the hospital like at 10:15 or something. So I'm like, 45 minutes ago, he had 101.7. She's like, there's nothing here. I said, okay, well, I'm just following orders. So she's like, okay, let's get you into the room and see what the doctor says. Fine. So King is not the type of in and out baby. His history is going to keep him there. Okay. His medical history is going to keep him there for observation, even if there's no fever. So that's what happened. So they drew blood cultures in the line, the hemodialysis line. Okay. Strep throat test, influenza. And we had to sit there and wait until we got all the results. Of course, you're not going to get them right away. So we got admitted. We went to our second home, which is the PICU of El Paso Children's Hospital. There, because we were waiting for results for the COVID-19, we were housed in the side of the COVID section. And it's fucking scary, guys. It looks bad. Like, it's serious. It's serious. So I was very proud of everybody, the staff members, nurses, doctors, because they're very careful how they walk into your room. They cover themselves from head to toe, face shields and everything. And before they walk out, they, on the way out, they take everything off and they throw it away. They wash their hands. So they're doing an amazing job, guys. Please don't, get me wrong. Like, they're doing a great job. But there's a lot of things that happen in the stays that we have to go through due to new nurses, new doctors that don't know my son. And it becomes extended stays. And if you're questioning why I have a sweater, guys, my house is super cold, but my kids are very hot babies. So I'm freezing and I have my hoodie on. I know it's weird because it's May. Anyways, so yeah, we got admitted for the fever. The next day on Sunday, it was negative results. So the Texas Department of Health called me and they even asked me, like, may I speak to King Leal? I said, I'm his mom. So the gentleman said, well, I need to speak to him. I said, well, he's a baby. He's only 3.5. So talk to me. He's like, okay, well, I'm sorry about that. I didn't see the birth date. Fine. He's like, we saw that he got tested for COVID. Do you have the results? And I said, negative. They're negative. He said, okay, that's what we have. Great. Okay, bye. So then we got moved to the other side, guys. Thank God, because I was like throwing fits, like, what are we doing on this side? He's not even sick. There's no symptoms. There's no fever since we got here. Everything was negative, guys. So we were told from our nephrologist that the next day we would leave. And after dialysis, we would be cleared to go home. That wasn't the case. And when I say they, it's the floor, the PICU floor. They made it seem like we can't leave because the INR. So it was like one thing after another. So I'm like, we're not going to stay in the hospital for no INR. So I had to find my way through that, guys. Okay. It's very difficult to be me because I know what to do and what's going on with my son. They don't. So they want to kind of start fresh. I don't have time to start fresh. Okay. It's in and out as much as we can. And he's not an in and out baby, like I said, but if it can be 3 days, then let's make it 3 days versus 3 weeks. Okay. We're not learning off my son anymore. Remember that. Okay. Woosah. Anyways, so right now we're treating the infection. He does have an infection supposedly after we got discharged. Okay. The second stay, about 8 days later, guys, my son supposedly showed on the cultures that were drawn from his hemodialysis catheter that there was something positive showing. So 8 days later, so I'm like, fuck that. That's bullshit. So the doctor wanted to admit us again for the third time in less than a month. So I'm like, no, especially with the pandemic, guys. The pandemic is driving me crazy. Like, I can't have my son in the hospital. He's already like fighting for his life on a daily, and then COVID-19. No. So I had to fight that doctor, which I love dearly, and tell him no. I put my foot down, and sometimes I'm right, guys, and sometimes I'm wrong. But that doctor knows what he's doing, and I've never questioned him. And guess what? Lo and behold, he knows what he's doing. He allowed us to stay outside of the hospital and treat him after dialysis each time and get antibiotics. And now we're heading to our third results of negative cultures for the infection. So we have about 6 more doses of the antibiotic, guys, and we're good. And we get to leave again to San Antonio, I pray, and gain the clearance that I've always talked about and get a kidney. Like, this is so tiring, guys. I'm so tired. Like, when I was arguing with the doctor about you're not going to admit him, and I don't care. He did threaten me with cops and CPS, but guess what, guys? I'm not the one to be scared. So I held it down, and you know what? I did cry, but because I'm tired and I don't want my son to go through the pain and suffering at the hospital anymore. So it's just because of that. Okay. I've lived in the hospital so much with my son. I don't mind it, but I can't have him catch COVID-19, guys. I'm not going to do that if it can be treated out here. So the doctor has done an amazing job. He actually did not call the cops or CPS on me. Thank God. Okay. Because I would have fought them as well. But my voice is getting a little broken down because I get emotional. Okay. I'm an emotional gangster. So pray for my son. We're doing great. I need this kidney, guys. Que Dios los bendiga. And may we get this kidney as soon as possible because it's time. All right. I'm up and I'm out. Peace.